You're already here. So 2 videos ago, I was talking about the Blue Archive second anniversary event. There's actually something important I kind of forgot to mention during that video. This is in part due to the fact that it was announced during the live stream during the event itself, which for those of you who watched the last video, what I'm talking about is the fact that they actually announced during the event that there was going to be a 1 month long Blue Archive second anniversary celebration campaign being held in Akihabara, which would begin on the start of February and would extend throughout the entirety of the month until about somewhere near the start of March. So initially I was wondering whether or not they just release all of this as one big video at the start of March, since that's when the last of the stuff would end, but I realized after attending part of the stuff that was already out now that apparently it's actually so time consuming that if I wanted to go through everything, it might take quite a while. Maybe I need more time to actually figure out the logistics of that as well. But just in case this ends up being a way much longer video than I would have expected at the start, I decided, yeah, let's go with the original plan and just let me split this into two, because the stuff that happened today alone, or rather the last week alone, were lengthy enough for me to want to make its own separate video, I feel like. So the event itself is basically split into most of the stuff that starts at the start of the month, but there's also stuff that starts later and later into the month as well. Like, I think there's something about a Akihabara revitalization campaign collab with Blue Archive, which starts on the 9th. Then the Animate collab starts on the 19th, and so on and so forth. So there's quite a bit of stuff that slowly staggers into the later parts of the month. So as more and more stuff gets added in, it feels like it'd be kind of tough to keep track of everything and then release a video at the end, especially since some of the experiences wouldn't be as fresh by that point. So if I were to wait that long, it feels like it wouldn't make for as good of a video, especially since my recollection with my bird memory, that memory is not gonna last throughout. So may as well talk about the stuff that I can remember now and still have a better impression or better recollection of in general for the time being. As such, as you can see from the title of the video, we're turning this into a two-part trilogy of the... Two-part trilogy? A two-part duology of the Blue Archive second anniversary campaign that's going on in Akihabara that will be extending throughout the entire period of February into the start of March. If you're interested in this, I don't think there's going to be enough time for anyone to actually fly over for something like this. Nor does it feel big enough for anyone who want to, but if you're in Japan for the time being, you might want to drop by, since the period is quite long anyways. There's probably time. If you take the bullet train, you can probably get there from anywhere in Japan within a fairly reasonable time at least. So hey, maybe this will be something interesting as well. Needless to say, since it's a campaign that involves many stores around Akihabara instead of just one building and a small fraction of that building, the scale is much grander and bigger, so there's a lot more to see. If you remember the pamphlet from the original event itself, it was around this size. Pretty small, pretty normal. It's the size of my head. So this time, since the event is bigger, needless to say, the pamphlet has to be bigger as well. And when I say bigger, I do mean bigger. So you might be wondering why this big? Why is there a map here, and why is there a lot of text on this side as well? Well, the reason for that is because this event, like I mentioned before, it involves the participation of a lot of shops, and each of the shops that are taking part in the event are all listed here as well. And on top of that, you know how I like my activities and all that, my little treasure hunts and all. This kind of has something like that as well, except that instead of making you get lost inside a convention hall where there's far too many people and the signs are too hard to see, instead now you have to run across the entirety of Akihabara to ABC. This 5, 10, 15, 17? There's about 17 different stores that are actually participating in the thing, so you have to run to the 17 stores that are listed here, and basically you have to find the standees that are placed at each of these locations and scan a QR code. So even if you're going into one of the malls like Radio Kaikan, for example, you can tell for certainty that here's a good example. I do hope you can actually see this. This one here is for a gift shop, which if you're going into the building itself, there's 8-9 floors, so it's good to know what store, what floor, so it's easier for people who have never been here before to figure out their way around as well. But yeah, so the event itself is much bigger and therefore it takes more time. On top of that, you kind of have like multiple small, but at the same time more time-consuming collabs going on in some of these stores as well. Well, some are pretty generic. Like for example, there was a bookstore in the Atelier itself where you kind of had the event going on and you had the standee outside the bookstore, but in the bookstore itself, it's relatively normal. Like you have very simple ones like this where it's just standee at store. If you spend 500 yen in the store, you kind of get an item from it, but kind of like these. I mean, it's inside the thing, so I guess we can do like a live pack opening now, right? I suppose. Hopefully no one kills me for opening it now, but let's see if we can get some ASMR going, right? This is not really working too well. Okay, give me a second. I'll just put it on the table instead. Well, basically you have stamp rally cards that are given out for every 500 yen you spend at a shop. And if I'm not mistaken, every shop has its own set which are completely random. Like, I did not get this from the bookstore, but as you can see, you have, I think, Ui's decapitated torso over here, and Boba, probably the only legal character in the series other than Wakamo here. There we go. This is how those epic Pokemon traders do it. And yeah, you have like kind of 28 cards stamped ready going on across the entirety of Akihabara. So every store has the same pack. Like the pack is just the 28, and they are not like certain stores have exclusively certain stuff. So you could go down to any of these 17 stores and it will kind of work out. Also, on an unrelated note, apparently for the Madam Books collab, they actually had Koharu there instead, which yeah, for the theme bookshop, I suppose that's quite fitting as well. For some, you kind of had a bit more stuff going on, but for the bookshop itself, it was literally just a case of, well, if you go there and you buy something and it comes up to 500 yen, for every 500 yen you get one of those cards. Then if you go on to, like, for example, the ones that went on to later, like the karaoke, for example, I think Pasela Resort was the name of the karaoke. And you kind of have like the Sweets Club themed snacks and all that, which you wouldn't expect being sold at the karaoke. I don't know, usually if I go there, it's like the most I eat is maybe like fries or something, and you go for free flow drinks while you just sing for the whole time. But for this specific collab, which I think Pasela does do a lot of anime collabs as well, you basically have a collab menu which you can order while in the karaoke. So no, you will not get to listen to me sing. I do not want to put you through the auditory CBT of that, but like the karaoke was fun. Like it's karaoke, which is kind of normal karaoke, since you know Blue doesn't really exactly have that many like songs you can sing there. It was just like a normal karaoke session with theme snacks, which theme snacks were actually pretty decent. Like they were nice. I might go back again just to try the other two that I didn't manage to try that time, since I only got like 2 out of 4 things on the menu, and the karaoke actually gave out a bit more stuff like so I'm gonna want to be a little careful here to not drop anything, so I just have it at the side. But alright, so for those of you who didn't go off to like look for the menu, which means you stay on the video, thank you very much. Here is the menu itself in all its glory. As you can see, there's like a bunch of different snacks you can order that are very thematic. You have like Iris ice cream here as well. My camera's reversed, so it's tough for me to tell, but you have that. You have a bunch of different themed snacks, and on top of that, it also mentions that you get a bunch of stuff for attending as well. So you get a kind of commemorative postcard, which I have not opened yet here. We can open it together as well, in a different color pack nonetheless, which you get for each item you order, which I ordered 2. So I guess we get to turn this into a bit of an unboxing, a pack opening, let's call it that, even though this is probably not going to be used in any form of pack, which oh god, is she naked? Wait, what? Oh no, it's fine. The lighting was actually screwing me a little, since the ring light is actually going to my eyes a little. Yeah. You kind of get 2 of these, which are also randomized, and for just going to the place itself, you do get a coaster, which I have not opened either, so let's just open that as well. Yeah, maybe I'll edit it down in case it gets really boring or it takes like 50 years to open, but we have 4 possibilities of one of the members of the Sweets Club here. Which do you think it is? Enter your thoughts in the comments below. Actually, no, don't do that. It's just a joke. Like, we don't need the forced interactivity, although you can kind of do it if you want, I guess. You don't have to. It's... I think you can probably already tell. Yeah, you can probably already tell, can't you? It's a coaster! So the karaoke was interesting all in all. Like, you get a bunch of different stuff from it, which most other stores don't have anything unique at all, and are largely just giving out the same stuff, which this karaoke also does give out those novelty cards I mentioned before. So everything that you see as like stuff they're giving out as a bonus, as a collab on top of a collab in that sense. And they're probably the ones that actually are doing the most out of all the stores I went to during my 1 day there. Or well, 2 days there, including like the night where I actually went to a toilet itself as well. But we'll talk about there. So in summary, I do think that the decor of the store was pretty good. Like, it really was a cut above most of the other stores that were participating. The karaoke experience was pretty okay, I guess. Like, it was pretty normal. It was a bit expensive maybe, since it was 500 yen as compared to the norm, which is 200 to 400 yen, and the karaoke machine was not as much to my liking, but the song choice and variety was much bigger than what I'm usually used to for the average like 200 to 400 yen karaoke, so I don't really have a complaint. The snacks and food were pretty good. Like, I did enjoy the French toast quite a bit. The coffee was surprisingly not as bitter as I thought it would be. It might be due to the sweets they put in it as well, but overall not too bad. I'll probably have more opinion after I try the other two as well, which hopefully is fun. And I do find the queuing system that they had to be pretty good. Like, they managed to crowd control pretty well through the use of the online like booking system that they had. So they basically managed to reduce the number of people that would be there, like stuck queuing. Like, for karaoke, since you expect people to stay for a long period of time, you wouldn't want people to queue outside waiting for some guy to finish his like 3-hour session. So I would say they did it pretty well in limiting the crowd by having people book online in advance, especially since the booking itself is free, so it wasn't too bad. I believe there are some other more interesting ones which I'll probably go to later in the second video path as well. Like, I think there was a shooting range, obviously not real bullets and all that since it's Japan, but that had a collab as well, so I might go down for that. Like, I think there's also a camp set up for the rabbit squad somewhere in one of the parks nearby, so that is something I will probably go to as well. Though yeah, the reason why I couldn't go to all of this was due to the third and final thing that I went to on the day itself, which was the Yaro Ramen collab. Now let me just level with you all for a bit. I do apologize if any of you are actually fans of that ramen store, but quite frankly, it's very mid. Like, when you consider the price to quantity, it's kind of good, but like when you consider price to quality, like I feel like you could get much better ramen in most regular neighborhoods within Japan as well. But that's beside the point. So Yado Ramen, the shop, which is kind of famous in the back street of Akihabara, for having a lot of different anime collabs every now and then, actually had a special collab with Blue Archive as well. And for this one, they actually basically changed the name of the store. Like, they replaced the big banner at the front with the ramen store from the first arc with the funny doggo boss, with the problem solver 6-8 that you kind of see it quite a lot at the first chapter of the story. They basically themed it after that, and they sold ramen that was supposed to be themed after the ramen that was supposed to be in the game itself, even though we're never really told what the ramen in it is. Also, on a completely unrelated note though, and I really want to point this out because every time I see it, it actually annoys me quite a bit, since this has been there for years and it still hasn't gone away. But you see how in the background over there's that one image of a poster in the back with the girl on it, the anime waifu there, yeah, that one. That store has been using that image, and I'm pretty sure they've been using it without the original rights for like the longest of time. How do I know that? Because, and for good measure, I'll probably put the actual original image here as well. I'm pretty sure that shop, which is completely unrelated to the game that she is from, definitely does not have the rights to use it. And I've pointed this out multiple times to both stores, and neither of them have gotten back to me, and it triggers me to no end every time I see it. But yeah, there's nothing to do with anything else. I just wanted to complain about it a little, since it's been there for years at this point, and still it's like bugging me ever so slightly. So the thing is, you look at the queue, right? Like the video is here somewhere. The queue isn't that long. It doesn't look that long, right? But the thing is, this was basically the queue to enter the queue to queue for the building. So you had to enter this queue to purchase your food ticket, which would then allow you to queue for another queue to enter the building to get your ramen. Why does this sound so familiar? I feel like this like layers of queue thing has happened just recently as well. I don't know why. Maybe it could be something very coincidental. Who knows? Maybe it's just deja vu because my brain is exploding. I don't know. Aesthetically, the ramen shop itself, from the outside, you can kind of really get the vibes of like them trying to play up the Blue Archive feels of it with all the standees and the if you go to the windows, which I only took a video of it after I came out, after eating, which yeah, as you can see, is actually night by the time I came out. That's how long I spent in the queue. You can kind of vaguely see like pictures of like frame pictures of some of the characters from Abidors, as well as like t-shirts hanging there and all that. And when you actually go in, well, maybe the first floor itself is pretty normal, but even for the ordering machine for the ramen, it's kind of like there's a special menu which is specially themed like menu page. And when you go up to the second floor, it's actually quite decorated. Like the ramen store itself is not the best looking, let's put it that way, but they did try their best to like make it very thematically interesting, or maybe more so they added a lot of peripheral goods to make it to play up the feel of the Blue Archiveness of it all. Like you had like posters, you had t-shirts hanging there, acrylic stand, poster plaque things, and a lot of other stuff as well, including a figure of Mutsuki, which is just there as well on the second floor. Though as expected, when the ramen did actually come, it was yeah, I guess it's fine. It's a bit, the taste is very mid, but the quantity was enough to make me very full for the next 50 days after that. Like I could just hibernate and never eat again, I feel like. So for the ramen store, what you get that is different is that you kind of get well, I mean, it's nothing much really, but you kind of get this. If you order the specific Blue Archive menu, like, can you actually see? Yeah, you just get a picture of Doggo Man because, you know, yeah, ramen shop. Which I guess it's kind of cute, kind of. Although I don't feel like this is worth the 1,600 yen I paid for ramen. Yeah, you heard me right, 1,600 yen. Like, yeah, maybe. And the vibes of the restaurant, atmosphere they built up was pretty nice as well. Although the non-Blue Archive parts of it were very run down, I guess. So it's like, I don't know how to feel about the restaurant itself. Like, even then, 1,600 yen for that bowl of ramen and this. And I guess you get to sit in a very Blue Archive-y like room, and the room itself felt nice to sit in with all the Blue Archive stuff around, which I did enjoy. So yeah, I guess it was fine overall. If I had to rate it over 10, it's a not negative over 10 at the very least. Oh, there's also this on the back as well, so I guess that makes up for it a little bit. I think I spent 2 hours in the queue for the queue, and after getting my ticket, I had to queue for another hour in the main queue, all of which you have to remember, Japan is in like single digit 4 to 5 degrees at this point. So it's just 3 hours of standing on the street in the single degree temperature for that one bowl of ramen. Like the actual Blue Archive anniversary event, like there was a 2-hour queue for the queue there, and then like you got in pretty quick. This was that, but overall like slightly longer because the entire queue thing took like 3 hours instead. So I feel like they might have also like messed up the logistics of like the queue. So lastly, and this is the thing that most people are probably more interested in, is the pop-up store that was in Atore as well, along with the bookshop I mentioned earlier. So Atore is like this building at the train station itself. It's basically just connected, and in front of it you could walk right in from the train station. It's the first thing you'll most likely see if you came by the JR station. So the store itself is located on the second floor, like just a little further past the bookshop which the Uwe standee was at. And I have to say, it's also kind of very mid, although to be fair and balanced. It could have possibly been due to the fact that most of the stock was probably cleared out in the first 5 days. Like So this kind of ties back to what I've been saying this whole time about like logistical issues that feel like they stemmed from the fact that the series is actually more popular than they expected. But the fact that the store, which was supposed to last for 14 days, ended up selling out on the 6th day, where the first 5 days rather are all just purely for people who managed to get the early ballot booking in advance, actually makes it feel like they did not plan enough supply overall for like as many people as they had expected to come at the very least. Cause this is a shockingly faster rate of selling out, especially since I went to ask them on the spot and they said that there were no intentions to restock either, which means that whatever sold out in the first 6 days was just completely gone, and there was no hope unless they actually do a resale like online later on. The Parker was completely out of stock, and there was, I think, the bigger acrylic frames which were also gone, so most stuff was already gone by the 6th day. It really makes it feel quite insane, the level of popularity that the series has now, considering stuff could sell out that fast, which are kind of unfortunate. I really wanted the Parker as well, but yeah, it really feels like they could have stocked it a little better. I mean, they did their best, right? They did limit most items to 3 per person, so they did try their best to restrict people from buying out the stock. But as for the aesthetics of the store itself, it's pretty normal, I guess. Like, it's nothing too spectacular, but it's not bad either. Like, you can kind of still see they still have a bit of everything left at the front, and then you go in, like, it's kind of empty, but considering that most of the stock has already been cleared out, I guess you can understand why it's that empty. Like, they probably had nothing else to like cover up the empty area that was there as a result. Although, and this might just be because I'm spoiled by the fact that I've been in Japan for too long, but I have seen them or other IPs that have done this kind of thing at a much more interesting level, to the point that this kind of feels like a bit more average, I suppose. It's really just a normal pop-up store, like compared to the dress up door one, which I don't really have a video of, since I didn't really think of recording stuff like this back then, since I didn't think of doing this whole YouTube channel thing. That one kind of had like, I mean, if you can even look at the picture for yourself, like you had a TV out front, the store's colors were outstanding. Like you could tell that it was a bit more decorated, and there's also like, if you look slightly in the back there, there's that frame, or like you can see there's a screen there. That screen was also used for like a mini game machine that you could play when you spend enough money in the store, which it makes it sound kind of very scummy as well. But yeah, like every X amount you spend, you basically get to play with that thing once, and you get like rewards based off what you got from the mini game. Like I kind of have this, which was kind of from the thing as well, kind of top price because I'm an epic gamer that way. More important than the design of the pop-up store itself, however, is the decorations for the entirety of Atelier itself. So for those of you who have never been to Akihabara before, Atelier tends to design or decorate the mall's exterior with whatever series it's pushing for its main collab at the time. So in the case of now, it's basically Blue Archive. So for the main glass wall that's facing outwards towards the main road where the arcade used to be, you kind of get this like long like collage of some of the characters at least. Quite a few of the students there based on their respective clubs or whatever group they are associated to, and you just have them all lined like that. And then you have like on the other walls as well, CG either from the game or just original art for this collab as well, just lining most of the exterior walls, as well as the standees near the escalator, on the floor of the collab itself and stuff like that, which not only does it work pretty well for advertising, but when you stand like further back and look at the entirety of it, it feels very cool, you know, seeing like a bit like that along the train station mode, no less, since considering the fact that Atelier is right below the station, and like one of the main entrances to the station is definitely, you would have to pass by Atelier to get to the station. You kind of would get these decorations and like posters and all that from all angles if they would enter from there. So pretty big marketing wise, and pretty nice to see as well as someone who likes the thing. Not just for getting like new players, for people who do like it, I feel like it ends up being something very crazy or interesting to look at as well. No, overall, to conclude and wrap up all of this, I would say that while there were many logistical problems, I really don't blame them for it. Maybe like to see it like increase in popularity this much in the second year, I feel like not only is it very crazy to like all of us now, but for the people involved in the planning of most of the logistics for this, I think none of them were expecting it either. So I just saw the announcement on Twitter, and they did mention that they are actually aware that like there's a lot more popularity going on than expected, in the sense that they mentioned that they realized that a lot of stores have ran out of the free gifts they're supposed to give to people for purchasing or attending like the stuff at the store. So they mentioned that they're actually gonna have all of it replaced on the 11th. So good on them for actually being aware of it and taking steps to, well, fix the issue at hand. It's actually pretty cool of them, I have to say. Like I remember like something similar kind of happened with Bocce the Rock as well. Like the popularity was something that probably no one expected. It came out of left field. As a result of that, like during Comic-Cat, where there were Bocce goods, they were all like completely like swooped up instantly. Like on the first day, within the first few hours, all of it was just completely gone. No one knew that it was gonna be this popular, but when it did, then it kind of like caused this vacuum as a result, because not enough of anything was prepared, so everything just went out of stock. Or in the case of the ramen store, it led to like huge and pretty insane queues as a result as well. So I don't really blame anyone too much for it. Like I'm just glad the series is doing as well as it is. There's gonna be a lot more stuff coming out, so I'll probably like slowly record those as well along the way, and I'll put those into the second half, part 2 of the trilogy, the duology of this, where I like film the maybe shooting range part if I can actually film in there, as well as the animate pop-up store, as well as whatever other stuff that I have missed out, which is quite a lot of stuff, I feel like. But yeah, I look forward to seeing the rest of the event. I'm probably gonna take time off from most weekends to go and try and see if I can go through everything else as well. I think there is a reward password thing for clearing every single point and redeeming the code on it. So I think that has probably been uploaded somewhere or another at this point. If it has not, I will probably add it in the end of the next video, or edit in the next video rather. I'll probably keep a lookout for that online as well to see if it's already out. If it's already out, you can probably find it. If not, yeah, I'll edit in the next video or something. Although the fact that most of Akihabara closes at 8 PM nowadays doesn't really help with me trying to, you know, get through most of the other stuff as well. But you can bet that I'll do that on the weekends, which well done Blue Archive and Yostar. You guys have actually managed to convince me to leave my house more often than usual, and to also go to Akihabara more than twice a month, so props to you. So before I end off this video, for those of you who didn't watch the last video I did, which was the game review one, I would like to just like thank everyone once again for supporting the last event Blue Archive related video. Like I really wasn't expecting that many people to watch it, so the fact that like that many people watched it and all of you were so supportive as well, it's really it's quite touching to see. So thank you all so much for that. You can bet there's more to come for events in general, but hey, if you're interested in this kind of stuff in general, you can look forward to the rest as well. And thank you all once again for supporting it. Like even getting 1,000 views is like way higher than I thought it was, so thank you. But that's it, that's the end of the video. I feel like this has already extended way longer than I wanted it to, so I'll be heading off now. Y'all take care, have a good day, and bye bye.